Well, good morning, everyone. Today is the 20th. I am going to get started soon on doing various bits of work because, well, there's no event today, which means I'm free to do as much work as possible. But there is that football game I'm going to tonight. But that, of course, is later tonight. Anyway, now that it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, actually, we can go head down to Cape or to LA Memorial Coliseum. So that's where I have to go. That's where this event is. That's temporarily where the LA Rams are housed. I believe they're going to be getting their own actual stadium at some point in time. But it's almost a 2-hour walk, which is fine. I want to get out and get exercise anyway, so it's probably a good thing. Anyway, to the Coliseum. Well, I made it back. Let's go out on the balcony for a while just so I can talk somewhat normally, even though I still have to be fairly quiet so I don't interrupt the piece because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. So let's start. So one of the first things you saw that I shot on my phone was actually me walking, I believe right about down there, down Figueroa, because it's actually pretty much a straight shot on Figueroa. It's just that you have to go all the way through downtown, and it's like 4 miles, which, I mean, was actually pretty nice, because I do miss walking, but LA really is not fit for walkers, and I don't mean that in a way where it's like poorly planned for walkers. I mean that in a way where it's literally detrimental to walk. It's literally designed to be as much of a pain in the ass as possible. At least that's what it feels like. Because there's just random parts of the city where they're just like, yeah, we really don't feel like putting a crosswalk over here, so you need to go around. And I was like, fuck you. Anyway, I made it down there eventually. It was actually pretty cool to go get and see LA Memorial Coliseum, because that is especially if you're an NFL fan, it's very rich in football history, because the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Rams have all called that their home at some point in history. So it's nice. But as I mentioned, it's temporary, I think, for probably 3 seasons. And then the Rams are going to have their own stadium up apparently close to the Forum. So, but it was kind of nice to be able to go in there. Like, in the stadium itself, inside was actually pretty nice, but the outside, the outside was just way too crowded. And apparently it was much worse last week. But, yeah, it was nice to go and see the LA Rams. It was actually pretty cool. And also, one of the reasons why I picked this game as opposed to the one last week is because the Kansas City Chiefs were playing. And by the way, this is going to be a sportsy vlog, so if you don't want to see the sportsy stuff, you probably just want to click on through. But, so yeah, the thing about Kansas City that's interesting is that Andy Reid is Kansas City's head coach, and I'm from Philadelphia. Andy Reid was our head coach for a very long time, so I'm kind of very familiar with his ways and how he runs a football game. And for those of you who did not live the life of a Philadelphian like 5 years ago, Andy Reid has a very special tendency to managed to get flags called just about every other play, which happened tonight, check. And B, do pretty well during most of the game, and then managed to fuck it up in like the last 5 minutes of regulation or so. Also, check. I did feel really bad for the Kansas City guys, because there was actually a lot of people from Kansas City, or the Kansas City fans there, and I was just like, it was a very Andy Reid ending. And I was just like, I've been there so many times. He's managed to screw up the simplest thing, and fuck what should be a decently easy win over in the last few minutes of the game. Which, I mean, that's what happens in football. Also, I always forget how complicated of a game football is. Football is easily the most complicated of, like, the main major sports. There are so many rules and regulations that go into football. I mean, I've been watching for years, and I still don't completely understand the damn thing. Anyway. But yeah, seeing LA Memorial was actually pretty nice. I rather enjoyed my visit. I also walked all the way down there, and then I walked like halfway back and then took an Uber. So it was just nice to be able to get there and walk. But now I'm fucking exhausted. So I'm gonna go to bed because it's late. And I should stop screaming outside on my balcony at midnight 30.